Hi student, I am Dr. D.S. Thaure. Now I share the screen of today's lecture in front of you. Okay, welcome to the lecture number 7 of course number tab 354, diseases of field crops and horticultural crops and their management. In today's lecture, we discuss weed disease in field crops. So first of all, we discuss wilt of pigeon pea or red gram is also known as the locally tool. Okay, so wilt is the most prevalent and destructive disease of pigeon pea. It was first reported from Bihar by Butler scientists in 1910. Now it is prevalent in Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and also in the Bihar state. In Maharashtra, it is prevalent mostly in Marathwada and Vidarbha region, causing yield losses is up to 20 to 40% in most susceptible variety of the pigeon pea. Okay, so this fusarium will take a soil-borne as well as seed-borne disease. Means after harvest of previous pigeon pea crops, so some of the crop residues debris in soil means the chlamydospores survival in soil for 3 to 5 years. In next year, the farmers can sow the seed in the same field. So at this time, the chlamydospores become survival and germinate under the favorable conditions. So these chlamydospores enter into the plant of the pigeon pea via root system, means actual penetration of the pathogen into the plant through roots. Means suppose the farmers can sow the seeds in the infested soil of the fusariums. So this fusarium means chlamydospores infect to the germinating seeds and seedlings of the pigeon pea. Means after establishment of the pathogen into the plant systems, so two types of the symptoms are produced. Means some wilted plants seen in the seedling stage as well as in the mature plants. Means this infection generally seen from seedling stage up to the harvest of these crops. Suppose we visit to particular pigeon pea fields. So you see the number of the wilted plants seen in patches form in particularly pigeon pea fields. So you see the individual affected plants of the pigeon pea. So several symptoms are seen. In that first one, loss of leaf turgidity. So this is the infected plant of the pigeon pea by the fusarium pathogens. So most effective symptoms seen in this plant, that is a loss of the leaf turgidity. Then second symptoms, that is intervenial clearing and chlorosis of the leaf. Means you see the single leaf. So this leaf may be yellow in colors. Means several leaf generally infect and showing the yellow in colors. Means in last stage of the infection, this affected leaf generally defoliated from such infected pigeon pea plants. Okay. Then second most important symptoms, that is brown to dark purple bands seen on the basal portion of the stem surface. Means suppose this is the infected plants. So you see the dark brown to purple bands generally seen on the stem portion, and these bands will start from the basal portion of the stem and extend to the upward directions. Okay, because this pathogen already present in these soils, and this pathogen directly infect to these developing seeds and developing seedlings. Means pathogens become persist within these plants and move in the upward directions along the growth of these seedlings of these pigeon plants. Okay, so the infected plants showing the two types of the symptoms, that is a partial wilting type symptoms and complete wilting type of the symptoms. Means these pathogens just move in the upward directions from side branches of these pigeon pea plants. Means only one or two branches showing this infection. So these infected branches having the leaf are totally dry. Means only one or few branches showing wilting type of the symptoms. So this type of the symptoms is known as the partially wilting. Means this pathogen gradually move in the upward directions and reach to the side branches of the pigeon pea plants. Okay, but you see the second pictures. So this is the whole plants to be wilted by the Fusarium pathogens. Means suddenly wilting of these pigeon pea plants. Means all the branches of these plants are totally dry. So such type of the symptom is known as the complete wilting type of the symptoms. Okay, so already you see the purple bands generally seen on this stem surface. So this band just exceed from basal portion to the upward directions. Means these bands seen on the main stem as well as the side branches of the pigeon pea plants. Okay, means the fungus, that is a Fusarium fungus, just to move to the upward directions. So such completely wilted plants uprooted from this field and take the cross section of the main stem as well as side branches. So you see the xylem and phloem cells. So these xylem and phloem cells is totally brown in color or maybe black in colors. So this symptom generally is produced by the Fusarium pathogens. Means after penetration of the fungus into the main stem, so these pathogens produce the tylose formations. So due to the tylose formations, the xylem and phloem cells is a totally brown in color or maybe black in colors. Means these xylem and phloem tissues is a totally brown in color or maybe black in colors. Okay. So the affected plants are totally wilted or dries because the already mycelia plugging to the xylem and phloem cells means vascular bundle cells is a totally plugged with the mycelia of the fusariums. So do not translocate the water from roots to the top portion of the plant and carbohydrate materials from leaf to the downward direction of the plant. So this nutrient supply and water is totally stopped due to the already mycelia plugged to these xylem and phloem cells. Okay, so this is the external symptoms seen inside the infected man's stem. Okay, means in wilt disease, two types of the symptoms are seen, externally symptoms and internally symptoms. So this is the internally type of the symptoms and this is the externally type of the symptoms. Okay, so this is the symptoms produced in pigeon pea by the Fusarium pathogens. So produce the wilt disease. Okay. Okay, then now we go to the causal organism, that is a Fusarium oxyasporum species udum. Okay, so this fungus produces the haline septate mycelium. Okay, so this mycelium germinate under the favorable conditions and to produce the spore fruits. So this spore fruit is known as the Sporodochia. Okay, Sporodochia is a spore fruits, that is a asexual spore fruits having the conidia and conidiophore are produced. Okay, so in Sporodochium fruiting bodies, two types of the spores are produced. That is one is a macroconidia and microconidia. So this is the macroconidia. So macroconidia is always larger than the microconidia. Okay. So macroconidia is also haline. Haline means colorless. So haline, thin-walled, curved and pointed to the both the ends, means this is the one ends and this is the another ends, means both the ends of this conidia is always pointed and bulbous to the middle portions. So this single conidium having the 3 to 4 septa is present. This is the one septa, second, 3 and 4. So 3 to 4 septa is present within the single conidium. So this is known as the macroconidia. Then this is the microconidia. So microconidia is always haline, small, elliptical, single celled, means no any septa is present within this microconidia, and this microconidia is always small as compared to the macroconidia. So this macroconidia and microconidia generally produce in the asexual spore fruit, that is the Sporodochia. Okay, so after harvest, the infected plant parts debris in the soil, means this fungus goes to the dormant conditions and to produce the chlamydospores. So chlamydospores is a modification of mycelium to withstand under the unfavorable conditions. So these chlamydospores may be produced terminally or intercally. So in this case, chlamydospores is present, that is a intercally, and this is the terminally. Okay, so these chlamydospores is a rusting spores or modification of mycelium to withstand under the unfavorable conditions. Okay, so this chlamydospores is also present in the wilt disease. Okay, means in wilt This is three types of the spores are produced. One is the chlamydospores, second is the microconidia, and another, that is the third one, macroconidia. Okay, so this is the etiological parts of the Fusarium oxysporum pharma species udum. Okay, so you see these diagrams. This is the chlamydospores. This is the macroconidia having the 3 to 4 septa, and this is the microconidia. So microconidia is always small as compared to the macroconidia. Okay, so this is the disease cycle of the Fusarium udum seen in the pigeon pea. Okay, means this after harvest, some crop residues debris in the soil, means these mycelia goes to the dormant condition to produce the chlamydospores. So these chlamydospores germinate under the favorable conditions and to produce the germ tubes. Means these chlamydospores directly infect to the root surface of the germinating seeds and seedlings of the pigeon pea. Means directly infect to the roots. So first of all symptoms seen on the root surface. So these fungus become persist and present inside the growing stem of the pigeon pea. So this tylose and gum formation generally produced by the fungus inside the stem, in particular is xylem and phloem cell. So totally blocking of the xylem cells due to the already produced the tylose and gum produced by the pathogen. So due to the plugging of the xylem and phloem cells, no any translocate the water and carbohydrate materials. So finally these plants having the several symptoms are seen, that is a yellowing type of the symptoms, that is a yellowing leaf or dripping of the leaf, and finally these plants having the branches may be weeds. Okay, so this is the disease cycle of the Fusarium oxysporum pharma species udum. So this is the another disease cycle seen in the pigeon pea caused by the Fusarium oxysporum. Okay, so this is the actual mycelium network seen inside the vascular bundle cells. Means already tylose and gum substance secreted by the pathogens. So totally block the xylem and phloem cells. Okay, so these fusariums produce the initial infection in the healthy one plants or healthy one seeds through the use of the infected seeds for sowing purpose, or after harvest some crop residues debris in the soil, means these chlamydospores survival in the infected stubbles in the field for near about 3 years. Means primary infection takes place through the chlamydospores present in soil and use of the infected seed used for the sowing purpose. So 100% disease is produced. Means already building type of the symptoms seen in the pigeon pea plants. So spread of this disease from one plant to the another plant through conidia, means already macroconidia and microconidia is produced in the infected pigeon pea plants. So this conidia spread through irrigation water and agricultural implement, because these spores, number of the spores may be present in the soils. So during the intercultural operations, some spores may be stick on the surface of the agricultural implements. Okay, so in this way, the spread of the disease from one field to the another field. Okay, so this is the perpetuation of the fusariums. Okay, then last point, that is a control measures. So farmers can adopt some cultural, chemical, biological, and some growing resistant variety to restrict the Fusarium pathogen infect to the pigeon pea plants. That is the first one, long crop rotation with tobacco, sorghum, or castor, because these chlamydospores survival in soil up to 3 years. So break down the chain of the chlamydospores by adopting the crop rotations. Means do not cultivate the pigeon pea crops in same field year after year. Then adopt mixed cropping of sorghum with the pigeon pea seeds because the root of the sorghum secrete the HCN. So due to the secretion of the HCN to inhibit the fusarium pathogens. So this is the most important practices done by the farmers in particularly Marathwada and Vidarbha regions. Okay, then soil solarization in summer to reduce the inoculum of the pathogens because these chlamydospores present in the soil. So eradicate the spores present in soil by adopting the deep summer plowing practices should be done in the summer month. Then collect and destroy the diseased stubbles means to prevent the primary infection through diseased stubbles. So after harvest, they collect such fallen diseased stubbles in the soil manually and burn properly. Then chemical control means this disease mainly spread through soil means before the sowing of the actual seeds in the main fields. So these seeds generally treated with thirum at the rate of 0.3% or carbendazim 0.2% means you take the 2 to 3 gram powder of the thirum or carbendazim and this powder is coated over the seed of the pigeon pea means to protect the seed from fungal infections. Okay, then sometime this biological treatment is also done to these pigeon pea seeds means after treating the seed of the pigeon pea with fungicides, these treated seeds is again treated with the trichoderma viride at the rate of 4 gram per kg of seeds. Okay, then some trichoderma powder or trichoderma viride powder mixed with the 50 kg FYM and this mixture broadcast in the pigeon pea field. So eradicate the spores already present in the soils. Okay, and last one, growing some resistant varieties, that is a BDN1, BDN2, BSMR 736, BSMR 528, BSMR 571, BSMR 579, BSMR 853. So this is the most cultivable variety of the pigeon pea grown in the Marathwada region and Vidarbha regions. So this BDN and BSMR variety, so this number of the variety developed by the VNMKV Parbhani University under the Agriculture Research Station, Badnapur. So this is the BDN means Badnapur 1 and Badnapur 2. Then BSMR, this variety is also developed by the research station in Badnapur. Okay, so this is the brief information about the wilt disease seen in pigeon pea or red grass. Okay, then we go to the second disease, that is a wilt of groundnut or peanut. So this wilt disease also seen in peanut or groundnut caused by the fusarians. Okay, so in groundnut, this disease seen on the seedlings of the groundnut as well as mature plant of the groundnut. Okay, means this wilt is the common and widely distributed in all crop growing tracts of the India, in particular Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, having losses in quality and quantity of the seed in post-harvest pods. Okay, means this disease or this fusarium pathogen attack to this groundnut from germinating seeds up to the well-developed groundnut crops. Means suppose these pathogens infect to the seedlings, so pre-emergence damping of type of the symptoms seen in younger plant. Means initially the brownish spots seen on the young stem of the uh, seedlings of the groundnut. Means these hypocotyle and epicotyles having the brown in color. So this affected seedlings is totally dies. Okay. So this symptom is known as the pre-emergence damping of symptoms. Okay. Then post-emergence damping of symptoms or this mature plant is totally wilted. Means after infection, means these fusariums infect to the younger seedlings of the groundnut. So these plants showing the different type of the symptoms, means the some brownish spots may be seen on the stem portion of the well developed groundnut crops. Okay, means this affected plants is dry suddenly, means this plant is totally dries, or sometimes this fungus moves is gradually, so this develop the symptoms on the leaf, means deep leaf generally yellow in color, or this infected leaf is defoliated from these infected plants. So in groundnut, sudden type of the wilting and gradually type of the wilting, so these two type of the symptoms are seen. Gradually means these pathogens move slowly into the plant systems, means these plants is wilted 15 to 1 month after the initial infection to this plant. This is known as the gradual wilting. But in sudden wilting, this plant is wilted within 1 month after the infection of the pathogen to this plant. So this symptom is known as the sudden type of the wiltings. So such infected or dry plants or wilted plants uproot from these plants and show the vascular bundle cells. Means take the cross section of this main stem and also the primary and secondary roots of these groundnut plants. Okay, so the vascular tissues is totally plugged by the fusarium pathogens, means the plugging of the xylem and phloem cells inside the vascular cells present in the stem portions. Okay, so these infected stems is totally brown or black in color, or sometimes this infected stem constrict at the base level of the plants. Okay, so this infection may be goes in upward direction as well as the downward directions, means finally these pathogens infect to the developing pegs. So these pathogen develop the brown lesions on the surface of the pegs. Okay, so these pegs do not form or may be formed So generally small in size as compared to the normal peg. Okay, means suppose this infection reach to the underground root portion having the pegs, so drastically reduction yield may be seen in such a infected groundnut fields. Okay, so this is the symptoms seen in the groundnut crops due to the Fusarium oxysporums. So this is the just healthy one plants of the groundnut, and this is the infected plant of the groundnuts. Means these photographs having the total wilted plants are seen. Okay. Then causal organism, Fusarium oxysporums. So this Fusarium oxysporum produces the three types of the spore. One is the chlamydospore, second is the macroponidia, and third is the macroponidia. So this already discuss these morphological characteristics of the Fusarium oxysporums in just build up the pigeon pea. Okay, so this is the same etiological parts of the Fusarium oxysporum. Then perpetuation. So perpetuation is also same. Means in Fusarium pathogen infect to the field crops and produces the wilt disease is mainly takes place through two ways. That is the use of the diseased seeds and chlamydospores present in soil or infected crop debris seen in the soil. And secondary infection is always takes place through macro and microponidia spread through irrigation water or rain flashes. So this Fusarium pathogen having the different host range and infect to the different crops, maybe watermelon crops, cucumber, tomato, pepper, muskmelon. Means this Fusarium having the wide host range in the absence of the main host crop. Then last points to be considered for avoiding or to eradicating the spores in soil as well as in groundnut crops, that is a crop rotation. Then avoid the groundnut cultivation in poor and acid soil because the soil having the pH less than soil, so favor the Fusarium pathogens. Means to increase the soil pH of such acid soils by adding the organic amendments, that is some groundnut cake, then currants cake or neem seed cake at the rate of 2 tons per hectare. So finally increase the soil fertility of this soil. Then cultivation is well drained soil will minimize the pod rots. Then seed treatment with systemic fungicide, that is a carbon enzyme at the rate of 1 to 2 gram per kg of seed. Then this treated seeds is again treated with trichoderma viridie powder at the rate of 4 to 6 gram per kg of seed. Then in groundnut field, overhead irrigation permits the better control of the irrigation because this secondary infection is always takes place through the water. So the farmers not done the irrigation to particularly groundnut crops by using the surface irrigation systems. Means you can use the overhead irrigation systems. Then apply the protective irrigation of the waters. Suppose the farmers cannot done the protective irrigations to these groundnut crops. So increase the soil temperatures and decrease the soil moisture. So these conditions favor the disease. So maintain the soil temperature as well as soil moisture. So 100% this is minimized in particularly this locality. Okay, so this is the information of the wilt of the groundnut or peanut. Okay, then we go to the third disease, of today's lecture, that is the stalk rot of maize. So this is also most important disease seen in the maize plants. So infected stem or stalk of the maize is totally rotted. Okay, so you see these photographs. So the different or number of the plants having the symptoms. So these infected plants is totally dries. So these dries plants are seen in these photographs. Means in these maize fields, near about 70 to 80% of the plants having the symptoms and rotted the stalk or stem of these plants. Okay, so this this is having the spores is already present in soil, and these spores directly infect to this basal portion of the stem of these maize plants or stalk of the maize plants. Okay, means the brownish to blackish lesions is developed on this stalk portion or stem portion of the maize plant. So these brownish lesions may be girdle around this stalk portion or stem portions. So under favorable conditions, these brownish or blackish lesions is girdle and just move or extend this infection in the upward direction, means on the surface of the stalk of these plants. Okay, means some external and some internal symptoms are seen. Okay, means these plants having the leaf generally dries, means some yellowing leaf and dried leaf may be seen on such infected plants due to the fusarium. So this is known as the external type of the symptoms. So this infected plants is uprooted from this field, or this cut the cross section of this infected stalk or stem, and you see the inner tissues of this stem or stalks. Okay, so this is the inner tissue of the stalk portion of these maize plants. So these generally white to pink in colors. Means after penetration of the fungus, this moves in the upward direction. So these vascular bundle cells generally turns to the white or maybe pink in color. So this is the pink colors. Okay, means these pathogens is move in the upward directions. Okay, so sometimes these infected stalks become spongy, or soft rotting symptoms may be developed in these infected plants. Okay, suppose wind velocity is less than 20 mile per hours. So this infected stalk to be break or just losing these plants in any internodes. So this breaking of the plants or losing of these plants depends upon the pathogens present on which nodes. So finally this weakened stem or stalk portion become losing toward the ground lines. Okay, so these affected plants having the cobes, so these cobes having the grains is a total failure to develop, or these scopes having the grains may be formed in small number or small size. So drastic reduction of yield may be seen in such a heavy infection of the fusarium seen in the maize plants. Okay, so this is the symptoms developed in maize plant due to the fusarium monoliformis. Okay, so this infection generally seen outer the node portion of the stalks, and this is the reddish uh, fibrous cells or tissues, generally red in color. So this symptom generally seen inside these stalk portions. Okay, then causal organism Fusarium monoliforme. So etiology and perpetuation is same in just like as a wilt of groundnut and wilt of pigeon pea. Okay, then this is the disease cycle or life cycle of the Fusarium monoliforme. Means this whitish mass of the mycelia seen on the outer surface of the internode of these stems. So this infection goes to the inner side, means the vascular bundle cells is totally plugging and generally red in colors. Okay, so this red color having the conidia is produced, and this conidia spread from one plant to the another plant through wind or air currents. So in this way secondary infection takes place through the conidia. Okay, means this already conidia is produced. Okay, or these healthy one plants, suppose this is the healthy one plants, become infected due to the chlamydospores present in this soil. Means these chlamydospores directly infect to the root of this maize plant. So this fungus become persist within this plant in the upward direction and develop the symptoms on the stalk portion or stem portion of these plants. Okay, then control measures, that is crop rotations, then deep summer growing practices. So these practices should be done to eradicate the chlamydospore present in the soil. Then do not use the plant population higher than recommended for the hybrid varieties. Then to eradicate the spores present in soil by adopting the soil solarization techniques, or apply the proper nitrogen and potassium dose to particularly maize crops. Suppose you use the exceed or excess dose of the nitrogen, so disease severity will be increased. Then reduce the traces, water traces, means just applied the protective irrigation to maize plants to avoid the water stress in maize plants. Then the spraying of this crop with carbendazim 0.1% or captacol 0.2%. So this practice is not recommended in large scale areas. Okay, so this disease is goes to the normal conditions by using these management practices. Okay, then last disease of today's lecture, that is a seedlings rot of soybean. Means soybean generally grown in the month of the June, July or August month. So in June, July, the heavy rainfall is received in particularly soybean growing tracts. So different pathogens directly infect to such seeds or germinating seedlings or mature plants of the soybean and produces the rotting symptoms in soybean by Fusarium, Rhizoctonia, Phytophthora and Pythia. Means number of the pathogens is attacked to germinating seeds or germinating seedlings or mature plant of the soybean and produces the rotting type of the symptoms. Okay, so you see these soybean fields means the rotted plants or wilted plants generally seen in patches or in particularly patch of particularly soybean fields or these wilted plants or rotted plants is seen in particularly rows. Okay, so this is the most evident symptom seen in soybean causing Fusarium, Pythium, Phytophthora and Rhizoctonia. Means number of the plants is just wilted one by one in particularly row. Okay, so this is the infected soybean plants. Okay, means this Fusarium, Pythium, Rhizoctonia and Phytophthora, these all the pathogens is present in soil. So these spores directly infect to the germinating seeds or germinating seedlings, means to develop the pre-emergence rot and post-emergence type of the symptoms in soybean. So you see these germinating seeds of the soybeans means already spores present in soil and these spores directly infect to these germinating seeds. So these seeds cannot develop the seedlings. Means these seeds is rotted before the emergence from this soil line. Or sometimes these seeds may be germinate and to produce the seedlings. But on the surface of the younger seedlings, the brownish spots or brownish lesions seen on this cotyledon of the soybeans. So this stem is totally weakened and this plant is finally dries or wilt. Okay, so these symptoms is seen in Pythium, Phytophthora, etc. Okay, then this is the also seen in cotyledon of the soybean caused by the pythium. So this is the constrict the stem portion of these younger seedlings. So these infected seeds do not develop the seedlings or maybe develop the seedlings, but this seedlings is also showing the symptoms and this seedlings is totally dries. Okay, then in rhizoctonia, in lecture number 3 and 4 already we discussed the pythium and phytophthora diseases. Okay, then we concentrate on this rhizoctonia pathogen infect to the soybean crops. So this pathogen also infect to the seeds and developing seedlings or germinating seedlings prior or after the emergence. Okay, means these younger seedlings and total developed plants or older plants having the rusty brown spots may be seen on these these root portions. So this is the rusty brown spots is seen on the root portion below the soil lines. So these lesions just exceed in downward direction and upward direction. So this root portion is totally rotted means some external tissues as well as internal tissue of these roots is totally rotted. Okay, so this infection generally seen in soybean due to the rhizoctonia. And in regarding the fusarium, the pathogen attack to these young seedlings or well matured plants of the soybean. So initially the brownish spots seen on this stem of the younger seedlings. So these younger seedlings is totally wilted or dries. Or suppose this infection seen on the older plants of the soybean. So initial infection seen on the root portion as well as the stem portions. So this stem portion and root portion is always brown to dark brown in colors. Suppose we take the cross section of this infected root or stem portion. So vascular bundle cells is totally plugged and having the brown to black in colors. Or sometimes this stem portion or root portion is a shrinkage, means reduce the size of this infected stem portion or root portions. Okay, so this is the symptoms developed in soybean in germinating seeds or germinating seedlings or mature or older plants due to the fusarium, rhizoctonia, pythium, and phytophthora. Okay, so causal organism, Fusarium species, Rhizoctonia solani, Phytophthora sozi, and Pythium species. So in last lecture, that is lecture number 3 and 4, we already discussed the disease cycle of the Phytophthora and Pythium. So this disease cycle complete by producing the zoospores and sporangia by asexual manner and oospores developed by sexually manners. Okay, then this is the Rhizoctonia solani produces the sterile hyphae. So this is the morphological characteristics of the Rhizoctonia, and this is the Fusarium, means Sporodochia fruiting body produces the macroponidia and microponidia. So this is the macroponidia having the 1, 2 and 3 septa, means 3 to 4 septa is present in this pointed ponidia, and this is known as the microponidia, means no any cross wall or septa is present in the microponidia. Okay, then perpetuations, that is these rotting symptoms seen in the soybean through use of the infected seeds and soil-borne spores, that is the chlamydospores already present in soil. Means the chlamydospores in respect to Fusarium pathogens, Sclerotia, Rhizoctonia, oospores in regarding the Pythium and Phytophthora. So this chlamydospores, Sclerotia and oospores is present in soil and directly infect to the germinating seeds and germinating seedlings. So in this way, to initiate the primary inoculum or primary infection to the healthy one seeds or healthy one seedlings of the soybean. So these healthy one seeds and healthy one seedlings become infected. Then already symptoms is produced. So these symptoms having the conidia is produced. So this conidia is spread through wind or air current from infected plants to the healthy one plants. Okay. And last one, that is a management to avoid planting into cold, wet soil, especially during the no-till operations, because these rotting symptoms majorly seen in soybean when this soybean crop cultivate in the monsoon period in the month of the June, July, August. Then delaying the planting until the soils are warmer and relatively dry to allow for rapid emergence and growth can be beneficial. Means to avoid the waterlogged soil or wet soil for cultivation of the soybean. Then crop rotations and tillage may be helpful for to eradicate the spores present in the soil. Then seed treatment, because this primary infection takes place through the seeds. So these seeds means soybean seeds are treated with the metalaxyl or by using the captain thyron at the rate of point at the rate of 2 to 3 gram per kg of seed. So to protect the soybean seed from wood spores or sclerotia present in the soil. Suppose these wilted plants seen in soybean fields. So these soybean fields spraying should be done with the fungicide, that is metalaxyl at the rate of 0.2%, strobilurin 0.1% can reduce the disease incidence. But this fungicide or spraying of this fungicide is much not much effective as compared to the seed treatment, because the fusarium or rhizotonia or pythium and phytophthora produces the external as well as the internal symptoms. Means you see the symptoms after the complete the drying of the plants. Means already these plants are already dried. So in this case, the protective foliar spraying, this method is not effective in soybean crops. Okay, so this is the information of the rot disease seen in the soybean caused by the Pythium, Phytophthora, Rhizotonia and Fusariums. Okay, so in today's lecture we discussed wilt of pigeon pea, wilt of groundnut, stalk rot of maize and rot of soybeans. Okay, so any doubt in today's lecture you personally call to me. Okay, so I end the today's lecture.